what's going on, everyone? It's Chris, and welcome back to, once again, another episode of the NFL Predictions. How is everyone doing today? I am doing fantastic. We are done with week one, filled with a lot of close matchups. And let's just forget about Monday. Monday never happened. So, anyways, welcome back. I'm very excited to keep on doing this now. I'm just glad to be back on this cycle of predicting games. It gets, after week one, you had to recover from kind of a rough start. And at first, it was fantastic for me. I started out 9-2. That all the way through the Seattle Seahawks-Miami Dolphins game. Then, from the Giants-Cowboys game on, I got it all wrong, ending with a 9-7 record, which is not bad. Not bad. We'll talk more about that in a second. But first, let's do our kickoff topic, which actually has to do with the San Diego Chargers and Kansas City Chiefs game. What a game that was. At first, we saw it happen. The Chargers were just beating the living crap out of the Chiefs. And we just thought, well, that's a loss for the Chiefs. That is just devastating. To lose your opening matchup against the Chargers and already be 0-1 in your division right out of the gate, it would just be, it just sucks. But nonetheless, all of a sudden, they came back and forced overtime and ended up on the first drive, running it all the way down for a touchdown. It was fantastic. It's always fun to see comebacks like that, and that was one of the great games from Sunday. At first, it was kind of sad to watch, but then it got progressively better all of a sudden when you see this comeback kid type thing happen. And you have to feel for the Chargers, who, it looked like they really had their act together, that they really were about to shut down a playoff contender, so that way they could get the praises for being potentially a playoff contender this year. And now it didn't happen. The Chiefs just ran over them in the second half and forced overtime and got it. But what we do want to talk about for the kickoff topic is overtime. So I know a lot of people have said, why do we have it so that way a touchdown immediately wins the game? I asked the same question. Why is it that a coin flip essentially decides, if, let me explain. Basically, the way the overtime rules work in the NFL is that they start out coin flip, and whoever wins the toss gets to decide if they want to get the ball or not. Basically the same thing as the opening coin toss. But what's different is that the first team to get the ball, if they get a touchdown, the game is immediately over. If they get a field goal, then the other team gets a shot. But no, if it's a touchdown, the game's over, and, we all go home. But the thing is, that's not really fair if you think about it. I get it. If you want to win this game, you have to stop the other team on defense. If, let's say, they get the ball first in overtime, you have to. I mean, it's not like there's only one team on the field at one point. Both teams, they're on the field, and the defense has to do the job, right? But don't you think it would be a little bit more exciting if we had this back and forth touchdown extravaganza, let's say, between the Kansas City Chiefs and the San Diego Chargers? Phillip Rivers and Alex Smith slinging the football, running the football, whatever they gotta do to get these teams back-to-back touchdowns constantly. That would be an amazing overtime, but we don't get that opportunity. Because once the Kansas City Chiefs win the toss and get the ball, they march it all the way down, get a touchdown, game's over, they win. And good for them. It was a fantastic comeback, like I said, but why not have it so that way the overtime is, have one team score a touchdown, and if the other team can't score a touchdown, then they win. Or let's say one team gets a touchdown, the other team gets a touchdown, and then the first team all of a sudden doesn't get a touchdown, and then the Chargers go down, and then they get the touchdown, and they end up winning. If that even made sense just now, I don't know. But you know what I'm saying? That would be amazing. That would just be amazing overtime action that we get to miss out on. Another thing too, why have ties in football games anymore? Why is it that if after 15 minutes of overtime, There's no changes, essentially. Why the hell are we, like, why are we doing ties? That's not fun. No one cares about when team ties. It's just, it does nothing. You know, it actually, it helps them like a little bit in terms of rankings in their divisions, but like I still don't get the point of it in general. Like, it's just there's no happiness in a tie. It's just we all go home because we are equals. You know, there's no satisfaction. There's no point in tying in this kind of sport. So that is why I propose to do college football overtime in the NFL. And here's how it works. Essentially, it's not timed at all. One team starts out with the ball, and it starts on the other opposite teams starting, I believe, at the 20-yard line, if I'm correct. Correct me if I'm wrong. And they have the opportunity to go down, get a touchdown, get a field goal, whatever. Then the other team gets placed on the opposite teams, you know, on their 20-yard line, and then they get the opportunity to score a touchdown. And essentially, if, let's say, both teams get a touchdown at that point and they're still tied, it goes to double overtime, in which the team that started second last time will get a chance to start first for second overtime. And it goes back and forth, essentially. And it can go into triple overtime, quadruple overtime, 5 overtime, 6 overtime, 7 overtimes, until one team scores and the other one doesn't in one overtime period. So essentially, to put it simply, the overtime periods are just 2 drives, one from each team. And if they're still tied by the end of that overtime, they keep going until there's a winner. How fun would that be? We saw how exciting that is this like a few Sundays ago. Notre Dame versus Texas. That was an amazing game by itself, but with the extra addition of overtime, you had a little bit of that back and forth that I was talking about. And it was exciting. It was so much fun to watch. I don't understand why they can't have this at the NFL level. Now, I would like to hear from you. Do you believe that there should be a college football style overtime in the NFL where there's no ties and both teams get a chance at the ball to score a touchdown? Or do you believe that this is perfectly fine in the NFL overtime? Defense should be held responsible for playing poorly. They need to be able to stop the ball. And if not, they lose the game for that team. So, I don't know. Personally, you know my views. I think we should do college football overtime in the NFL. That's just my views. And I'm looking forward to seeing if there's any responses. I definitely want to hear other people's opinions on this. So, done with the kickoff topic. It is time for the predictions. Last week, like I said, I did relatively well, winning record. Here's a look back at what I predicted right and what I predicted wrong. I'm going to go with the Panthers, the Buccaneers. I believe the Vikings will be getting the win on Sunday. I think the Eagles will get the W. I think I'm going to give this to the Jets. Yes. Raiders win this one easily. I think the Chargers, it's going to be a bad day for them. I feel like the Ravens are more consistent on both sides of the ball and will win this game. And I'm going to give the Texans the win here. It'll be a rough start in Jacksonville, and they lose a close one to the overpowered Packers. My pick to win, however, will be the Seahawks. I'm going to go with the Cowboys to win this game. So Colts are my pick to win. And I think Cardinals will take this win. The Redskins will win it. The Rams will win this game. So yeah, 9-7 record. It was a rough ending, but I was very happy with what in the very beginning. I thought I was doing very well overall, especially because I was kind of mad that the Broncos ended up beating the Panthers. I was just like, oh, I wouldn't want it. That's not how I wanted to start. But a great 1 o'clock session for me going. I believe there was 9 games, so it was like 8-1. That was fun. So yeah, it was a great. It was just a great Sunday in general. A lot of close games overall, and you want to see that. You want to see very close competitive matchups in the NFL. So it was a great start to the season in my view. So let's move on to this week's predictions. Starting out with the first Thursday night football game that isn't branded as Sunday night football between the New York Jets and the Buffalo Bills, two teams that I love very dearly. The New York Jets, they started out against the Bengals. They just had some problems connecting on offense, and Darrelle Revis, my God, 10 out of the 10 passes to A.J. Green were caught. And Darrelle Revis, I believe, was covering the entire time. That sucks. That really sucks. I believe the 10 out of 10 stat is, that was all the times that Revis was covering Green, and it kind of, maybe it's like kind of an open-eyed moment, like, well, maybe this secondary is not that great even with Revis in it, because he clearly gave up a lot, and I hope that he can rebound from that. But I was kind of worried going into this season. I don't know if Regis just picture Regis Philbin being a corner in the NFL. I have been worried about Revis in terms of him getting up there in age, and if he would be able to stay at this high level, pro level. I didn't even think that he had that great of a 2015, yet people still consider him one of the best corners in the league. So I was hoping that he'd have like this great, amazing 2016 to kind of shut down those rumors, but now it's kind of like, now it's getting worse. it's going even further back. So I don't know. And like I said, there was some issues with the offense. I think that there's still so much to prove. It's only week 1, so we'll see what happens. But they competed with the Bengals, and the Bengals unfortunately ended up on top. But it was a great game. It was a very close game. And as for the Bills, I don't know what to say for the Bills. That was a tough game to watch, and I believe it was just one touchdown they got. Of what I saw of it anyway, you could give kudos to the Ravens defense, but right now I just don't know if this Bills team can compete at the level that they were aiming at to make it to the playoffs. It just doesn't seem like that. They're too injured. Now they also lost Cordy Glenn, possibly, which that will suck. It's not looking good for the team. So I predicted, I believe, twice last year. I think last year I said that the Jets would win both matchups last year, and the Bills ended up beating them twice. So I'm going to do it again. I have to learn my lesson. I'm going to say the New York Jets end up beating the Bills. I just think right now the Jets are a more complete team than the Bills are at the moment, due to all the issues with the Bills with injuries. So moving on to the 49ers and the Panthers. What a start for the Niners, right? I mean, it was not the most amazing game, but it surely set like alright, fair enough. You guys were able to score 4 touchdowns on a well-known, good defense for the Rams. Now, of course, keep in mind Aaron Donald was ejected. We'll get into the Rams and their mess a little bit later on, but I think that the Niners have a very good defense too. I think that a lot of people need to realize that this defense, I think, can do wonders. Yes, it was Keenan at quarterback. Yes, it was not the best offense out there, but they did hold back. Well, I guess that it's the offense. Anyways, whatever. I say the defense for the 49ers is fantastic, and I think that they will do well in the future. Offense, we'll see what happens. I still think there's a little bit more to prove, but hey, they still scored 4 touchdowns. So that's that has to be something, right? But the Panthers, to me, are still a fantastic team, despite their loss to the Broncos. They played to the end. They had the lead at the end of the first half. I think that they still... I think that now that they have the loss already, they don't have to worry about going undefeated anymore. They have the loss already. Now they can go out and they can prove that they're still a team that compete for the Super Bowl, and that many people are underrating them because of the fact that there's so many other, like, juggernaut teams, like the Cardinals, the Packers, the Patriots, and all them. You know, now the Panthers getting lost in the mix, even though they were in the Super Bowl last year. I say the Panthers win this game and make a statement during that game, too. So, we'll see what happens. Alright, Cowboys, Redskins. So, this is one of my favorite rivalries in the NFL, just because it's Cowboys versus Indians. There's really not a lot of other reason. But no, it's a very interesting rivalry, and I'm curious to see how both of these teams rebound from tough losses. The Cowboys were running off the field to stop the clock away from potentially coming back and winning that game against the Giants. I think that Dak Prescott has a lot of potential to do really well. I think Elliott showed sparks of greatness. I think that this Cowboys team is going to do well. The question is whether or not the defense can. And the defense played okay. They did an all right job, I would say, for the Dallas defense. But again, you also have a lot of people lost in that defense. I think once Gregory comes back, I don't know when he's going to come back. If it's after 4 games or 10, I'm not too sure at the moment. Once he's back, once Lawrence is back, who knows? That pass rush could be insane, and maybe the corners will step up and really help out that secondary. But we'll see what happens. As for the Redskins, it was a beating for this team, and it sucks that I had a lot of high hopes for this team starting right out. But that, I think it proved more how great the Steelers are as a team than what the Redskins are as a team. Though there were a few questionable decisions, I would say, for Kirk Cousins. He has a chance now to go up against a less powerful defense, and really prove that he can still play at a high level. And I still think the Redskins defense is also pretty good. But again, I think the reason why they did so poorly against the Steelers is just because the Steelers are that good. So with that being said, I say the Redskins win over the Cowboys. I think, again, they're just the more talented team all around than the Cowboys are at the moment. But it's going to be a good one. I don't think it's going to be a blowout by any means. It'll be fun. All right. I believe this is CBS's highlight game. No, I think it's Ian Eagle, but I don't think it's the main game, though. But anyways, the Bengals against the Steelers. And what a reunion this is going to be after what had to be one of the craziest playoff games endings that you've seen. like how much they blundered that. The Bengals, it's gonna hurt to walk into that stadium filled with just all the Steelers fans around them, just bashing them. It's going to be tough, but the Bengals, they're a good team. They showed last week against a good pass rush that they're not going to be stopped, that they're going to still be trying to be the best offense that they can be. But right now, man, I can't give a lot of praise to the Bengals without looking at the Steelers and just being like, oh my God, they right now, the Steelers, I think, are, after week 1, have kind of proved me wrong. I think that they are great. They've gotten much better on defense. They're an amazing offense, no matter who is playing, because I think Big Ben and AB they're incredible together. I think it's going to be really tough for the Bengals to compete with that on offense and on defense. It's just, I don't know if they're going to be on the same level right now. Do I think it's going to be a close game? Yes, but I am taking the Steelers. There's no way I can pick the Bengals right now. But hey, I hope the Bengals prove me wrong, because it'll be nice to see them get another win. It would be nice to see them try again and get to the playoffs and actually fucking win a game. I'll be ranting about that so for this entire season, because it's unbelievable. Oh, we skipped a game. The New Orleans Saints at the New York Giants. Can we please have the game, another game like we had last year, where it's just an absolute shootout, because that was amazing to watch. I don't know if it's going to be again this time, because I think both teams have tried to improve on their defense this time. It's going to be a great offensive battle no matter what. I think the Giants, they're coming off of a win. Maybe they're on a little bit of a high. Sterling Shepard, he got a touchdown last game, so hopefully he becomes a big part of that offense. And Victor Cruz, can we just say about Victor Cruz? I was so happy to see that salsa again. Oh my god. Before I even got into football, I remember just on Sundays when I walked past the TV and I would see that salsa on TV, I always thought that guy was awesome. And I'm so glad that it's back. And I'm so happy that Victor Cruz is back on the field for the Giants. It feels like good old older Giants, which was like 3 years ago. But still, it was great. It's great. The offense, I think, still needs improvement, though, especially in the running game. But I think that they'll try their best. And the defense, it looked better than this past game. I mean, it wasn't at a very top level, but they did a pretty okay job, I would say. The Saints, after last week, a great game against the Raiders. It was a fun game with the Raiders going for 2 at the last minute in order to top the Saints, and the Saints charging down, trying to get a field goal, and then missing, going, I think, wide left. I don't know. The Saints, ironically enough, were one of the best offenses last week, but again, one of the worst defenses last week. Which you have to wonder, like, did anything change from last year? So, I don't know. I think that after last year, the Giants had to improve their defense somehow, and I think they will have the formula to beat Drew Brees this time. So I'm going to take the Giants on this one. Again, I know I'm a Giants fan, I know, but I didn't pick them last week. I didn't think they could beat the Cowboys. I think they could beat the Saints, but hey, the Saints, they have Drew Brees, and you can never count Drew Brees out, so we'll see what happens. Alright, Dolphins at the Patriots. So once again, another game without Tom Brady and possibly Rob Gronkowski, but who gives a shit? Because they will win no matter what. And I think, side note, I think that is a testament to Bill Belichick as a coach and his entire coaching staff. I think that he is the reason why the Patriots have been so successful. I know that a lot of people will say Brady, but it's much more Belichick. It's much more Belichick in my view, because he can turn anyone into a superstar. And now Jimmy Garoppolo going into this game, if he has another really great game, I think that proves more about Belichick than it does about Garoppolo. But I'm not saying that Garoppolo doesn't have the talent, but it's just amazing to me how all of a sudden this team can still be good without their 2 of their best offensive weapons. I just, that blows my mind, but it's just because the Patriots have been so great for so long, and I commend them for that. With that being said, the Dolphins put up a fight. They had a great defense last week. Yes, again, the Seahawks and their Swiss cheese offensive line, that happened. They had a great game last week, though. I wish they just could have done more on offense. I think it's going to be a process of growing for them. So we'll see what happens. But for me, right now, I got it. Last year, I basically dedicated every single Patriots game, and I gave the Patriots the win every single time, because I just felt like this team could never lose. I think there was maybe only one time where I said, oh yeah, it's the other team, but I think I got it wrong. And then the start of this season, I started out saying that the Cardinals would get the win over the Patriots, and then once again, I was proven wrong. I don't want to be wrong anymore. The Patriots are going to win this game. Sorry, Dolphins, but I'd love a good fight from them. Alright. Rematch of a playoff game. This is a second playoff rematch that's happening. That's from the wild card round that's happening in week 2. The Chiefs against the Texans. I cannot believe that the Texans let the Chiefs have an absolute shutout happen to them. You know, I just think the Texans right now, with Brock Osweiler, I think that there's still some growing pains with him, but I think that he's going to get there where he can actually be a decent enough quarterback for this team where he can actually lead them to victories, unlike past quarterbacks. And they just need absolute elite play from the defense, which didn't come out a little bit during the win over the Bears. As for the Chiefs, as we talked about earlier, they had this amazing comeback victory. Kudos to them. And I think that shows that they still are a resilient team, and they're a team that can absolutely, they will still be in the mix no matter what for the playoffs, because this is definitely a built team no matter what. I don't know if this time they'll have a super easy time against the Texans, but because I think the Texans, they're going to get their revenge. I think the Texans are going to get the win. The Chiefs, who knows? I think it could happen once again where the Texans go up early and then the Chiefs just come right back and just like, no, you're not going to shut us down. So I'm expecting a good game. I'm hoping for a good game, as this is once again another playoff rematch. Titans at the Lions. Great game from Matthew Stafford, and the fact that it was another one of those close games between the Colts and the Lions, where the Lions went up super early, the Colts came raging back, but this time the Lions actually completed the game. It was almost a repeat of Week 1 last year against the Chargers, where the Lions went up super early and then it got blown. It got completely blown. So, good to see that the Lions actually completed the game this time. I still have a lot of question marks with this team, especially on defense. Like, I don't know if the defense is going to be that. It's going to be at a very high level this year. But the offense, hey, if they can get it done with Stafford and all those weapons around him, it'll be fantastic. And a great game from Theo Riddick and all those. I feel like the running game actually did a little bit better than I expected during that game. If I remember correctly, the Titans, they had a spark of greatness with their running backs. It showed that those running backs, that duo was going to be fun to watch this year, even though they had the loss this time around. I'm looking forward to seeing what the Titans can do. I still have questions about their defense, and Marcus Mariota didn't have a perfectly great game, but I think that Mariota is still a great quarterback. I'm interested in seeing what happens, but for now, I'm gonna go with the Lions in this one. Moving on to the Ravens at the Browns. Last 2 games between these two teams have been fantastic, and I'm so happy that we get to see it this time. But now the Browns lost RG3. I mean, you can't. I know that I've already talked about it on Twitter, but I might as well bring it up here. They get RG3 in free agency, and they pass on Carson Wentz because they have that much faith in RG3, and then possibly they can get a quarterback in the next draft. Who knows? They pass on Carson Wentz because they don't think that he is a good enough quarterback. They came out in reports or so, I think they actually said it, and they just didn't think that he was a capable enough quarterback to play in the NFL. Then Carson Wentz beats them badly. He had a really good game against them. And then RG3, their starting quarterback, goes down with a shoulder injury and is out for 8 weeks. Why does this happen to the Browns? What did they do to society to deserve this? They are just... It's just amazing how awful this team... How many awful things this team has to experience. It's unbelievable, and I feel so badly. I feel so badly for this team. As for the Ravens, they always put up a fight, and they got the job done in Buffalo, even though it was a perfect outing. Flashes of greatness from both Dennis Pita and Rashard Perryman, getting a few good catches here and there. I think that the team, right now they're under the radar, but I think they could build to be a great defensive team, and then playing pretty well on offense. I'm going with the Ravens to win this game, and at this point, I don't know when the Browns will win a game again, because it's just, they're in a really rough spot. But hey, if the Browns can beat the Ravens this weekend, which they can, with Josh McCown, he had a pretty good outing with the Browns, but he had struggled winning games. So I don't know. I'm hoping that McCown can put up a good fight against the Ravens, because it's a very fun rivalry to watch. All right, Seahawks at the Rams. Now, I'm recording this on Tuesday. As of now, Russell Wilson is playing this game. He got stepped on by Dinamo Kasu, and potentially might be out. But right now, they're saying that he's projected to play. So, I don't know. It would be a really tough loss to lose Russell Wilson on the same day that you go ahead and face the Rams, who swept them last year. You know, you want to get that revenge against that team. But I don't think the Seahawks have much to worry about. They put up a pretty okay performance. Probably could have done a lot more on offense, but I think that I think one, the Dolphins' defense was tough. But two, I just think that it was a tough game once, especially after Russell Wilson injured himself. It was. I think it was just a rough game at that point. But regardless of that, the Rams, the outing that they had. So the amount of punts during that game, 2 interceptions, there was just no productivity with that team. They lost Aaron Donald after once he got ejected. The team is a mess. It's more of a mess than I had thought it could be. I mean, again, I don't know if you want to commend the San Francisco defense or if the offense is just really bad. I guess I would just say both. And Todd Gurley has just not. He just did not play like he used to. In his first 4 games, he did really well. Then he kind of declined at the end of 2015, but he still had a pretty great season. And then now it's kind of coming back, that kind of declining, just not good running from him. And I think that a lot of it has to do with the offensive line. But I don't know. I think this is going to be a tough season for the Rams. It'll be probably the first year that a Hard Knocks team potentially does worse than what they've done in the past, in the previous year. So, right now it's looking much worse than the 7-9 season. It's bad. It's bad. I'm gonna pick the Seahawks to win this game. All right, Buccaneers at the Cardinals. This could be a really fun game, in my view. This could be 2 prolific offenses that just try to uproot 2 awesome defenses. And I truly believe the Buccaneers can be a playoff contender. I truly believe that this is a team that is destined for a wild card. And they showed a lot of that during the Falcons game. I think that the Cardinals, they had a few struggles trying to stop the Patriots offense. And I think Carson Palmer wasn't really on his game either, but Larry Fitzgerald was spot on. So I know this sounds like I'm leaning towards a Buccaneers pick here, but I'm going to go realistic here. I think the Cardinals will come back from their loss against the Patriots and will come and beat the Buccaneers, but it'll be a close game, it'll be a fun game. I'm looking forward to it. Cardinals win. Alright, Jaguars against the Chargers. Jaguars, what a battle. What a battle against the Packers. Great game. And I think it came down to just fourth down decision. And I think the Jaguars, again, it's another team that has the potential on both offense and defense to go the distance, and they will compete for the AFC South title. They're going to be a fun team to watch, and I'm looking forward to seeing what they can do. The Chargers, they let go of a win. They were so high. They had, I believe, a 20-point lead, and they blew it. They absolutely blew it. But hey, it happens. They have to come back from it. They showed a lot of promise on offense. Melvin Gordon got a few touchdowns, and the defense showed flashes of greatness. I personally felt it was an underrated unit going into the season. So we'll see what happens, but I'm going to pick the Jaguars right now. I just have a lot more faith in the Jaguars than I do the Chargers, which is saying something considering, the major differences between Phillip Rivers and Blake Bortles. But Bortles is getting better. He's getting better, that's for sure. All right, the Falcons and the Raiders. Great game by the Raiders. I know I'm saying that a lot for a lot of these teams, but they were all really great games. The Raiders absolutely just Jack Del Rio didn't care. He was just like, we're going for 2, and we're going for the win, and he did it, and it worked, and it shows that this team is really working together, and it shows that, again, I love how I've had the Buccaneers, the Jaguars, and the Raiders, 3 teams that were so terrible over the past few years, that are 3 teams that can absolutely contend to do well this year. And the Buccaneers got the win, the Raiders got the win, the Jaguars almost. They were very close to getting a win. This team showed greatness on offense. Defense, they had their struggles, but it was against an offense that had Drew Brees in the helm. As you can tell, I'm very high on Drew Brees. So it's going to be tough for them to go up against Matt Ryan. I'm joking. I know that's really mean for me to say, but Matt Ryan, I just feel that Matt Ryan has shown has shown greatness at times, but over the past few seasons, it's just he had a great start too, and there's just times that he just can't get the job done, and he had a lot of great throws during this game. I think that he can put a challenge, put up a fight against the Raiders defense, but I think that they're going to see through it. I think they're gonna see what Matt Ryan. I'm sorry, I'm so tired. I am recording this really late, so I apologize. I'm just kind of, again, this is when I start rambling. I think the Raiders defense will stop the Atlanta offense, because I think they'll stop Devontae Freeman. I think it'll be tough with Julio Jones. It's going to be tough stopping Julio Jones, but that's only if Matt Ryan can get the ball to him. So, and we'll see what happens. The Falcons, they had a good fight against the Buccaneers, though. You have to give them credit, but I am going with the Raiders. Alright, this is the CBS Spotlight game. The Colts against the Broncos. So, this can be a great game, because this is the team that actually stopped the Broncos for the first time last year. With Andrew Luck, and with a pretty high-power offense, and by the way, Andrew Luck was one of the best quarterbacks last week, if not the best. So if the offense can play at a great level like it did this time and whip apart this defense, I think there could actually be a win here for the Colts. But the problem is, can the Colts defense stop the Broncos offense? That's going to be a big question. Because as we saw in the opening game, the Broncos didn't really have a problem on offense. Yeah, Trevor Siemian had a few bad throws, but he proved to be a pretty decent quarterback. The running game was fantastic with C.J. Anderson. So there's a lot of questions. I don't know how much the Colts defense can stop the Broncos on offense, and that Broncos defense is very dominant. But I'm going to pick the Colts to win this, because I think that if the Colts can upset the Broncos one time, I think they can upset it twice. I'm sorry, Broncos. I know I'm picking against you guys a lot, but if you win this next game, I'll make it up to you. Trust me. Keep on doing that. All right, Sunday Night Football: Packers at Vikings. So, pretty good starts, I would say, to the season from both teams. A great fight put up from the against the Jaguars for the Packers, and the Vikings coming back and beating the Titans. But now the real fight begins. Two great teams battling it out on the primetime stage in a beautiful new stadium. Can the Vikings? I think if the Vikings win against the Packers, it would be kind of like an upset in my view. But the Vikings defense is fantastic. It's a really good group, and I'm looking forward to seeing how much that defense grows over the course of the season. Offense, I don't know. We'll see. I mean, Adrian Peterson is always going to be Adrian Peterson. Let's just face that. He'll always be an amazing running back. But who is going to be at quarterback is the question. And right now, they still haven't announced it as of this recording. If it's Sam Bradford, I think that they will have a pretty good shot at winning this game. If it's Sean Hill, I have my doubts. But he did a decent job last time to at least get the team the win, so who knows. The Packers team, though I think the Vikings defense is better, I think the Packers offense is a juggernaut. And I think the defense can complement the offense in a way that can make this team look like it cannot be stopped. And many people believe that it won't be. So I'm going to go with the Packers. It's just my gut feeling right now is to go with the Packers. But division game, it's going to be a good game. It will be a rematch of Week 17 last year. Which decided the NFC North. So I'm looking forward to seeing who can have the first to laugh in this rivalry. And last but not least, Monday Night Football: Eagles against the Bears. Good for Carson Wentz, having an amazing game right out the gate. But keep in mind, now it's against the Cleveland Browns. Now they go up against the Bears, who have shown some greatness on defense last year, or last week rather, but had struggles on offense again. So I don't know how close this battle is going to be. I think it could be intriguing on a lot of levels, but I am going to go with the Eagles on this one. Alright, and that is your predictions. So that was me without a script this time. So me rambling along, probably not making much sense. So there you go. You got two different views of me. But yeah, it's gonna be a great week. I'm looking forward to it. Week 2 is when it kind of hits me like, all right, football's back. Here we go. This is where we start to see, where we could slowly start to see and separate the difference between the men and the boys. You know, like the teams that are just gonna beat the crap out of everyone all year long, and then the teams that probably are gonna start preparing for 2017 sometime in the future. So, I mean, week 2, yes, that's kind of early to say that, but it happens. So, anyways, guys, thank you so much for watching. I hope you all enjoyed, and I'll see you guys next time. Bye-bye.